party people. Welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, an RPG podcast built for two. I am your host, as always, Jeff Stormer. This week I'm joined by Meghan Dornbrock of the Modifier podcast for a game of Mars Colony 39 Dark by Tim C. Kopang. 39 Dark is a sequel to the original Mars Colony, which we've played on the show before, whereas the original focuses on political change from inside the party machine. 39 Dark beautifully shifts the focus to the individual level, where ordinary people challenge social norms and oppressive regimes through civil protest and potentially violent insurrection. It's a ton of fun. A link to learn more can be found in the show notes. Interested in coming onto the show? Shoot me an email at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. I am always looking for cool new people to play cool new games with. And with all that said, let's throw it over to me in the past so that he can get on with the show. Take it past me.
Thanks, future me. This week my guest is Meg Dornbrock. Meg, how are you doing?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm so excited to have you on the show. This is going to be so much fun. So up front, what we like to do is talk a little bit about where people might know you from, and if they don't know you, where they what they should know you from.
Yeah, okay. So people might know me from my podcast, Modifier, which is on the One Shot Network. And Modifier is about the way people change games and why they do it, and all kinds of fun stuff about that. So they should know me from that or listen to it.
They should. I agree.
It's a good time.
It is. It's super good. It's fast. There's fascinating talks. You talk both about specific projects and how they are being hacked, but also like broader topics like accessibility, and it's just really good. It's really good, Meg.
Oh, thank you.
Meg. It's really good.
Thank you.
All right. This week we are playing Mars Colony 39 Dark by Tim C. Kopang. It is a sequel to the his older game Mars Colony. This the original one was about trying to affect change within government and sort of the resistance to that. This one is more about trying to affect change on a broader societal level, and the sort of difference in resistance that you experience there. They're related, but you don't need to have ever played the original Mars Colony to really enjoy 39 Dark.
That's good.
So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, me too.
So before we went on the air, we laid out some anger cards, which is the first step, which are things that upset us or anger us about the government as is. So we've got those laid out, and those will come up as they go, as we go through play.
Cool.
Okay, so in fact, we're going to flip over one of them right now, and that is reproductive rights.
Fun, good times.
Fun times, good times. I'm really excited. This is going to be a joy. It's going to be a joyride, I think.
Yeah.
I think is really what we're going to feel.
Any game that starts with, hey, what makes you super mad about stuff is like, good.
Yeah. So now what we're going to do, now that we've got sort of an idea of stuff that angers us, we're going to dive in and fill out the political landscape of Mars Colony and 39 Dark. And as we do that, I will go into sort of the background of what Mars Colony is and what the 39 Dark movement is.
Nice.
Mars was founded some time ago it was founded before the days of the Earth Coalition and the Colony Council. America, being sort of pursued by China, landed there before they kind of had a plan on how to settle it. So they were, for a while, it was just like engineers, scientists, people that needed to be there. They established some basic food, water, building stuff. They kind of established that, and then opened the floodgates and said, like, hey, new world, everybody come, and all of these people from all these different countries sort of rushed to there. And it wasn't until they were all there that they realized that they were kind of having to exist in this very small Mars colony. For a lot of different reasons and a lot of different causes, unrest has sort of risen, which has given birth to the 39 Dark movement. 39 Dark is a reference to the fact that a solar day on Mars is 39 minutes and 35 seconds longer than Earth. Mm-hmm. And so your average Earth transplant suffers some real messed up jet lag when they first get here. So there's this 39 minutes that you just did not have on Earth. And they kind of use that as a rallying cry to, like, get stuff. Like, that sort of gave birth to the name 39 Dark. 39 Dark is a very large movement that is born of several smaller like factions. Like it's a very big movement with a lot of smaller interests in it. And to that end, we're going to lay out 4 fringe factions. What we're going to do is name or generalize 4 like real world groups.
All right.
And they have some examples in the back of the book if you want to draw from them, or if you have ideas, because I had at least one idea that I don't necessarily think that they've used.
I did like, actually, one of the examples that they used in the back of the book, and I feel like it's going to be pretty vital to my character.
Okay.
I would like to have Pussy Riot
Okay.
on this graph, yeah.
So the question then, and the thing is, and the big thing to note is that, like, while literal Russian feminist punk rock group Pussy Riot may not exist on Mars, but that same like similar groups and values are like a big part of one of the 4 factions.
Yeah.
Yeah, just laying that out.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is awesome. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
So what about their agenda and methodology? I have a strong idea, and there's the stuff written in the book, but like, what is it? What are you taking from Pussy Riot to sort of put into this faction? We'll say it's the Steel faction, because there are 4 groups, each of which will be a combination of 2.
Okay.
2 of these 4 groups.
I think I like the idea that it's a, where is it? In the description they use unauthorized public performances, and something about like a gem in the holograms, but like...
Yep. That's exactly where I was thinking it was going, like rebel,
sounds real good.
rebel rock with a political focus. Yeah. I think we're on exactly the same page, so I'm real excited about that. The one that I wanted to go with, and I will put it in the opposite corner, so it will have, so the way this works is, like I said, there are 4 factions. There's Steel, the Steel faction, Midnight faction, Scarlet faction, and Gold faction. Each of them, and then there are 4 factions that we're laying out, or 4 real-life groups that we're laying out. So each of the factions will be informed by 2 of these groups. So, for instance, the Steel faction will be informed by Pussy Riot, and the group that I've been thinking a lot about today, and like the last little while in general, I don't have a specific group name, but I think that just calling them what it, like, the general term works well to kind of capture what I have in mind. I'm interested in, like, slacktivism, if that makes sense.
Ooh, yes. I think that's the perfect name.
Yeah, I think just slacktivists.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing about their agenda and methodology is just they're raising awareness. But the question then becomes, like, what do you do from there?
Yeah. Well, they don't though. Like, they've raised your awareness. It's on you now. So
yeah, and it's a lot of social media, but like when it comes to actual stuff happening. So I'm putting them in the opposite corner of Pussy Riot. So the Steel faction becomes a combination of Pussy Riot and slacktivists. So there are, which I kind of love, the idea that there's 2 different rebel rock performance, like rebel performance groups sort of running around. Mm-hmm. I love the idea that there's one that's going to be informed by another group, by another like political ideology, and then there's the one that's just kind of like, we're shaking things up, but not really. They're kind of just partying to party.
Yep.
I kind of love that.
Oh, I love them so much.
So do you have another idea? And we will put this one, if you're looking at the handout, this one will fall on the axis of, this one will pair with slacktivists to form the Midnight faction.
Oh, good. Okay. Then I think that kind of informs my choice. I like having Anonymous in here somewhere.
Yeah, that works really well with the other thing, with the slacktivists too.
Yeah. There's definitely a chunk of Anonymous that's a little more useless than useless, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that works perfectly with the slacktivist idea of them. So the Midnight faction are hackers who are really just causing trouble. They're doing it for the lulz. So yeah, I love that. So we'll fill that in on that corner, which gives us our Midnight faction. So the last group, and this one will inform This one will inform our last two factions, Scarlet and Gold. I'm trying to think of a good... Let me look through the ones in the book, because they have some really good ones.
Oh, yeah.
I think as much as I think I want... Okay. I think I want it to be the Tea Party. I think I kind of hate it.
Oh, boy.
Here's what I'm thinking. Like, I think I'm going with that because the way I see it, because it's going to inform the other half of the Pussy Riot, like, rebel performance movement. And I kind of love the idea that there are these two sort of, like, pop culture things, one of which is really, like, kind of, their heart's in the right place, but they're kind of aimless. And the other one is their heart is very much not in the right place, and they're like real laser focused. So there's this other unit that's like, they're both doing these big parties and rallies and performances, and one of them is just much more sinister than the other.
This is so good.
Yeah, I'm loving this. I'm really excited about this. So what is the next step? Let me flip to the page. Let me flip to the setup section and see what the next thing we gotta do is. I think I lay out some things.
Oh, man. So that makes Gold a combination of the Tea Party and Anonymous, which is horrifying.
Oh, that's a nightmare. I didn't even consider that. Oh my goodness. I don't like that, but we're going with it.
Oh, no. I love it. It's so bad.
Yeah, I hate it, but I love it. I'm so excited. Okay, so next up, what I'm going to do is we have 4 organizations in Mars Colony. The Peacekeepers, which are the Mars Police. The United Workers Union, I believe is what they are called. The United Workers of Mars, which is like a people's union. News Network, which is the telecommunications organization. And the colony government. So I'm going to, of our 4 organizations, I'm going to pick one person from each of them to be like a part of this faction.
Ooh, boy. There are no bad choices here.
Yeah, this is good. I think I want beat writer for News Network, Sydney Fain, to be a part of the Steel faction. Because I like the idea of there being this reporter that is like, you know, covering all of these events and doing all of this like socially conscious journalism, but not really putting a lot of thought into it. Just very, very, very upworthy.
She runs the blog.
Yeah. So for the government, I think, okay, I'm going to ask you this because there are 2 bad options. There are 2 bad options here. Either the president or the mayor is going to be part of the Gold faction and just willing to do whatever it takes to destroy the people they don't like.
Oh, boy.
Do you think it's Arnold Fletcher or Ira Davis?
Arnold.
All right. So the president is straight up willing to just step out of all legal bounds to just destroy someone if they oppose them.
Oh, yeah.
So that leaves, we've got Steel and Scarlet. We got Steel and Gold. The Scarlet, which is the Tea Party-esque Pussy Riot rock band. I think that's gotta be the United Workers Organizer, Aldo Prinz.
Cool.
Because I think that makes a lot of sense if they're organizing these big concerts. And then the Peacekeeper, so that leaves, what does that leave? Scarlet Midnight, which is a combination of, which is a social media. Okay. Then I think in that case, you know, I'm going to go with Investigator Hajek.
Okay.
As a member of Midnight. Because I think that's kind of cool. Having the Peacekeeper investigator. It almost feels like the one honest cop in a corrupt town at that point. And they just don't know. They just don't have someone. They don't have somebody to follow. Which brings us to Lane Novak.
Oh boy.
Which brings us to filling out the Savior sheet. So Lane Novak, born on Mars, member of the recently, our first scene will induct them. Lane Novak's pronouns, your choice.
She.
She. So she'll be inducted into 39 Dark in our first scene. She was born on Mars, as opposed to the people coming in. A person of some political importance. They have some reason for people to turn to them. So we're going to fill out her character sheet.
Okay.
So you'll take 9 tokens, and you'll put them in the middle of the character sheet where it says loyal.
Mhm.
There are 3 areas: loyal, hope, and treasonous. Hope is when you're not deceiving the people, but sort of like giving a lot of empty... Hope is sort of empty promises.
Gotcha.
Treason is the people and the government having reason to take you down. So right now, everybody is loyal to you. Everybody is excited to have Lane Novak involved with 39 Dark.
All right.
Now, so next thing we'll do... Lane is loyal to one of the 4 factions, at least at the start. This could always change.
Okay. Boy, some good choices. But I'm gonna go with Steel.
Steel? Okay.
Yeah.
I really like that as a starting place, actually, because the Slacktivist half of it makes a lot of sense for somebody just coming into a movement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. That's a good starting place for,
yeah.
And then if it changes, cool. And if you don't have, like, they don't have to. You can stay loyal to Steel the whole time if you feel like that's the right call for your character.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see.
And if it changes, it changes. So next up, Lane has 3 followers, 3 people that are close to her.
Okay.
The first, Lane has a relative somewhere on Mars. Who are they?
Okay, I think Lane has an older sister.
Older sister.
Somewhere on Mars. Probably not. Well, okay. So are followers necessarily, are they involved in 39 Dark?
Let's
Or...
see. Each of them, they must be named and assigned to one of the 4 factions. So yes, but they don't you don't necessarily have to be, like, close to you. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
The first is a relative, the second is a lover, and the third is a fanatic. The third is a fanatic member of 39 Dark that is loyal to you.
Interesting. Okay. So she's got a sister, Kim, who is part of the Midnight faction.
Okay. What's Lane's love life look like?
Oh boy. Well, I see Lane as actually being a band member.
Okay.
And I am sure she's got some groupies.
Sure, that makes sense.
Maybe she has a favorite groupie.
That makes sense. I like that a lot.
Yes. So let's see. So I think this will be the favorite groupie. I should give him a name. Well, I guess it would make sense for him to also be in the Steel faction, possibly.
Yeah, I was thinking either Steel or Scarlet. I think it makes sense for him to be, if he's going to be a groupie, okay. I think he's a music.
Yeah, he's in one of those. So actually, yeah, Scarlet might be fun. He's into the...
He's into the music, but not the message.
Yeah, he's got a slightly different message, and maybe there's some issue with that.
Okay.
Or maybe there will be. So, that'll be Mark.
Mark. And who is Lane's political ally? They don't have to be a member of Steel, but just somebody that is fanatically loyal to Lane. I have a suggestion if you
Okay. Yeah, my first thought was someone else in the band.
That was exactly where I was going to go. I was going to say whatever. Cool. I was going to say another band member.
Yeah. Then we'll do that. I want it to be a girl group, so we need a girl name.
Right, Amy.
Yeah, that works.
And is she part of Steel as well, or is she part of a different faction?
Yeah, I think the whole band is more or less Steel.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've got to have a fairly cohesive message, even if it's a lazy one.
Right. So we've got your followers. So I think this is the last... Yep, this is the last thing we do before we dive into play.
All right.
We collaborate on the first agenda that 39 Dark is pursuing. There's a list of, like, phrases on page 36 of the rulebook. Okay.
Pull that up.
And we pick one of them and kind of elaborate on how it's affecting Mars and sort of the goal of the movement to sort of tackle this issue.
All right. Should this have anything to do with the anger card?
It can. It's the anger card is in the air if we choose to use it.
Okay.
I was looking at the anger card and thinking it worked with at least a few of the like, if we wanted to use that as a springboard, we could.
Okay.
I think I like personal expression, particularly given how much of how much of 39 Dark is performative.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's
definitely leaning towards that one.
So, what do you think? What aspect of what's the issue? What is the personal expression issue that is coming up? That is like a big thing on Mars at the moment.
I think it has something to do with clothing requirements.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Clothing require. I think that's perfect. I think it's real conservative.
Basically almost have a dress code.
Yeah.
Or have a dress code, almost a uniform.
Yeah, I think I would like it to not be necessarily a, like, governmental, like, decree that the dress code, but it's largely a societal one, in both in terms of the clothes that are being produced, and also the sort of societal, the way people look at you if you wear certain things.
Yeah, I can imagine it's not enforced by law, but there's a lot of, it's safer if you wear these things. Or...
Yep. Considering how angry I just got hearing that exact sentence, yep, that's exactly what it is. And I think 39 Dark is sort of railing against that.
Yeah, it's so not punk rock.
Yeah. Well, and that's, what's really interesting about that, as we dive into our first scene, is looking at our factions. It's interesting that it seems like Scarlet and Steel would actually be on the same page for that, because if Scarlet's whole thing is they're like furiously like, government stay out of my stuff. Yeah. I think it's interesting that would be something that they could agree upon, and I think that's an interesting thing. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. I'm really excited. For once we agree and we can have concerts together about it. Yeah. So, now we begin with all of that written up, we can start play. And I'm really excited. All right. So we begin with an opening vignette that introduces Lane Novak. It's a very brief scene, and you can establish who is present, where you are, and what's happening. Over the course of the scene, we establish background qualifications and relationship with the government and 39 Dark Movement. We've done a little bit of that already, but like, give me a pic. Yeah. Give me the opening montage. Yeah, I think that she and her band are setting up for a show. Okay. So the rest of her bandmates are there. There's some folks at wherever it is helping set up. I assume it's unauthorized, so it's not like someone is helping them at a venue. They've got a couple people with them, kind of helping them set up quick and get going. So maybe if they've got like roadies and or any of these groupies. I think the really groupies are the roadies. I think it's largely like, hey, you guys want to come help out? Yeah, we're doing a show. Get over here. Yeah. So okay, that's a great like opening visual. It's like setting up, and that actually will segue really nicely. Quickly. That will segue really nicely into our next, from there. If you wanted to do any actual roleplay there or add anything else, we can do that, or we can dive into our first opposition scene. I've been trying to think of a name for her band. And long, weird train of thought, but I got to Orion Slay Girls. All right. SLAY. So I'm going to write that down. Okay. That's all. So, yeah, and I think that what happens is we're seeing all of this. We see Lane get to the concert venue, and the groupies are already setting up. Mark is there, and he's like setting up a drum, and it like zooms past and it zooms in on the drum with the pad that says Orion Slay Girls. Yes. What instrument does Lane play? Drums, actually. Okay, perfect. So, that's perfect. That's nice. So she trusts him to set that up. She'll allow it. He's made sure that he's personally done it. We actually see him lightly push someone out of the way to like set up the drum. Nice. So we set up. We go next into our first opposition scene. Ooh. Yes. All right. Actually, I think we're gonna go with an opposition scene. Our first opposition scene is going to involve opposition scenes involve a threat against 39 Dark, its members, or the colony population. They set the stage for Lane to take action. So I think the scene here is a member of the Peacekeepers sort of like approaches the group and is like, listen, I want to make this clear, and he's saying this as much to the whole crowd as he is to you in the band. I want to make this clear that we, in the Peacekeepers, have no problem with public expressions of art like this. I am merely here as a representative to inform you that this sort of performance, especially given the outfits that you're wearing, people might react poorly. And I want to make sure, and if that happens, we may have to get involved. And I don't want to get involved, because I like the music, I like to boogie.
He's a cool dad.
Yeah, but I'm just letting you know. I'm doing you a favor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my opposition scene.
All right.
So now you can choose to transition into a personal scene
Okay.
in which you interact with someone, either the Peacekeeper or Mark or Amy or anybody else that might be on the scene, or a progress scene, which is the actual meat of the game, where we actually start fighting these corruption issues.
Okay, so if I would like to have a conversation with Amy about further altering our costumes for this show, is that a personal scene or a progress scene?
So actually, I think this could just be a progress scene.
Okay, yeah, because I want her to have this moment of taking a look, kind of looking down and seeing that what she's wearing isn't that bad.
Right.
But she could make it worse. I
think how it goes is he says this to you and he's real condescending. Let's be clear.
Right. It's
he mansplains this whole situation to you.
And she's just oh, I'm sorry, and the jacket comes off, and
you lock eyes with Amy on the other side of the crowd, and then we just pan over to the concert, and your outfits are blown up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in a progress scene. This is exciting. So the way this goes is we go until either Lane is ousted, or we have 9 progress scenes.
Okay.
So
this is the first one.
Yes.
So
you mark off the 9.
9. All right.
The next, we've already framed the scene. This is the concert that's happening. You got your outfits are fabulous.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, they're great. I'm
so good.
Yeah. So now, you get to choose the action level. Well, the one question I want to ask before you decide the action level. We've established Amy is there. Mark has Mark hung around? Is he?
Yes.
And this is a good time to sort of establish: does Kim come to your concerts, or does she live far away, or are you estranged or other?
Let's see. I think she comes sometimes when it kind of suits her. I don't think she's there today.
Okay.
Because she's she's midnight. She's
she's at home. She's at home.
Yeah,
she's watching social media.
To stay there. Yes, doing her computer thing. So she'll leave the house sometimes, I guess, if it's a big deal.
Okay.
That's so today's not a big deal.
That's perfect. Okay. So, do you visualize this as civil protest, civil disobedience, or violent uprising?
Well, it's not a violent uprising. I think we're only at civil protest right now.
So the way this is going, so we've decided that. So you're going to roll 2 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're going to roll 2 6-sided dice.
Okay.
This is going to represent the actions that you're taking, the concert, the outfits, the on stage banter.
Beautiful. All right, and then that's a 2 and a 4.
Perfect. So you're going to mark down you're going to mark down 6 change points in the column on your character sheet that says change.
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as you don't roll a 1 on either of your dice, you've made progress. You've struck out a statement, the crowd sees your outfits, and they're like, yeah! Mark is taken aback, and he's just speechless. So you have a choice to make now.
Okay.
Do you keep rolling, running the risk of rolling a 1, or do you call it at 6? And I should specify, let me double check. Okay, yeah. If you roll a 1 at any point, all of your change points go away. unless you escalate it, so you go from civil protest to civil disobedience.
Gotcha.
Or you make a sacrifice.
Okay.
So do you keep your 6 points, or do you roll more?
Oh, we're gonna keep going.
Okay.
All right, that's a 6 and a 3.
Oh, you're doing real good.
Yep.
So that is 9? So that's 15.
All right.
But to give you an idea of what is really good, 40 or more points represents significant progress
Okay.
towards the agenda. 80 points means that it's done. So at 40 points, you sort of started to change the perception of clothing, and suddenly people online are starting to make outfits. At 80, it's not even a thing.
Okay. Cool.
So you're at 15.
Nice. That's pretty significant then. Man, I don't know. It's I think I have to go one more time.
Okay.
Can't not. Oh shit.
What do you got?
I have 2 ones.
Okay. So here's how this works.
Ah, boy. All right.
Here's how this works. Let me read exactly what it says in the book. When, on any roll, if one or more of the dice shows a 1, then the plan is a potential failure. If you accept the failure, you earn no change points for the scene. All previously rolled change points are lost, and the scene ends.
Okay.
If the action level is above civil protest, you can ignore. If at civil disobedience, you can ignore 1-1. But at violent uprising, you can ignore 2 1s.
Yeah, I don't think I'm prepared to escalate this to a violent uprising.
Okay, the other option, and this one is another difficult. This one's a more difficult option. Stage 6.
Oh no. Okay, so here's the thing.
So you rolled 2 1s.
I did.
This means that you are not only cannot use hope, but you are humiliated. You have to take public ownership of this failure.
Yep.
And you lose all of the change points that you rolled.
Awesome.
In this effort.
Not awesome, but awesome.
It's not awesome, but very awesome at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So my question to you, what does this failure look like?
Oh, I know exactly what this failure looks like. So, I think they're, like, several songs in, it's going really well, people are responding, it's just a great show all around. Lane gets a little too confident in how well it's going, and there's a moment where she, like, stands up on the stool behind the drums, so she's, like, tall enough to see over the kit, and she just takes her shirt off, and everybody's like, oh no, like...
It wasn't that kind of a performance.
No, what are you doing? Like, there's the bandmates, like, stop, kind of like, what is happening? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing.
That's perfect. So, 2 of your tokens from Loyal go into treason.
Oh my god.
Which means and if 3 more go in there, then you are taken in, and your stint as 39 Dark leader is over.
Oh god. Lane, honey, get your shit together.
So, now it is my turn to set up an opposition scene.
Yeah.
I'm going to set up an opposition scene because I think it works really well.
Yeah.
I think that you're brought in to the news network for an interview. With lead anchor Theo Mayer.
Ooh. Okay.
Theo is very 70s news person.
Oh boy.
Big thick mustache.
Oh boy.
Real sweaty. I think what happened is, he's very clearly like an interim person because like there was some restructuring that happened with News Corp recently, and I think he was sort of plugged in to be just the guy, and he's not ready for it. He's used to like reading like sports or weather or something. So he's like, well, Miss Novak, you got to explain to the people you're talking about freedom of expression, but that's not freedom of expression. That's just lewd behavior. How do you respond to that?
Oh boy. All right. So a response here would be personal or progress, I guess, depending on how I'm answering.
You can respond. Actually, this is part of the same opposition scene, so you can respond however, and then.
All right. Yeah. So is it just Lane that they've had?
Yeah,
okay.
It's Lane. It's Lane as the representative of the band.
Oh boy. Definitely a bit more conservatively dressed than she would typically prefer. Trying to make a nice apology. But let's see. But I don't know. I don't think she's gonna backpedal that far. So, my actions at the end of the concert were a little over the line, yes, but I think our greater point remains that there is a lot of room for personal expression, and that's something that should be pursued more than it is. Though, again, I do apologize for how far I took it. I understand that was a little further than necessary.
A bold response taking a stand is Miss Lane Novak of Orion Slay Girls. Let's throw it over. Weather! I think that's the end of the opposition scene.
Nice.
So do you want to do a personal or a progress scene now?
I think there definitely needs to be a personal scene with the band.
Okay. So it's you, it's Amy, it's the other band members.
Yeah. I can't imagine that they're, psyched about it, but, recent events, but, so I'm thinking that the apology, the interview kind of placated them, and my own promises to, kind of rein it in a little.
Sure.
In future, so the band, we're not dissolving at any point, that kind of thing, but maybe refocusing. So maybe having a little refocusing meeting, sort of. What's the strategy now?
Yeah. I think the big thing for me at that meeting is that Amy, there's definitely, tempers are hot.
Mm-hmm.
People, there's a lot of, reactions vary. But I think the one big thing is that Amy has your back. She's like, listen, was it too far? Yes, obviously. Were you wrong in doing it? I don't think so. You made a call. Performance is performance. I'm not gonna get that fired up about this. Besides, we got a lot of social media attention.
Yes. And that is what is important. Bless you, Amy. Oh, gosh. Cool.
I think I'm also going to set up a personal scene.
Okay.
Later as well, sort of exploring the fallout of this.
Okay.
I think the scene that I want to set up is, I want to set up a post-rendezvous with Mark, where the two of you kind of talk things out as well.
Ooh, alright.
So where do you think Mark kind of falls? Where do you think Mark falls on the spectrum of, you should be ashamed to fight the power in this instance?
Oh man, so because of, it's that tea party in Mark that has me thinking, he's a little, you should be ashamed.
Oh god, I didn't even consider that, but yeah, he definitely is.
Nobody, so he's got the opinion, the government shouldn't be telling me what to wear or how to be kind of thing. But also, it's just not right for you, Lane, to be doing that thing in public. That's not okay.
Yeah, he's I get it. I don't like the government either, but you can't, there were children there.
Yeah. You can't just go showing that to everybody, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Mark.
Okay, so I think that's a good little personal scene. So, do you want to do personal or progress?
Let's do some progress.
Okay. So what's the next step for the Orion Slay Girls? And for Lane in particular?
Yeah.
With all this added media attention, and suddenly Lane in particular, even more than the band, is a little bit in the spotlight.
Yeah. So it seems like, for how long can we just keep doing shows, right? We need to do something a little more than that.
I have an idea if you want to hear it.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I'm thinking that as Lane, I think this interview with Theo Mayer was not the only interview that she does.
Oh.
And I think that she does a lot. I think in these interviews she gets progressively more, takes a harder and harder stance.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it transitions her more into a political speaker, interviewer, media personality thing.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I like that she's a little less apologetic each time and a little less conservatively dressed each time.
Mm-hmm. And gets like a little bit combative, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good. That's a good way to approach the progress.
Okay.
So, if you want to make that roll.
Yeah, so I think this is still the civil protest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what do they call disobedience? Like, that's almost violent. Is disobedience,
yeah, that's
right?
like sit-ins and demonstrations and things.
Okay, which we will get there.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, that's a 2 and a 5.
All right, that's 7 points.
All right, we're going to go one more time.
Okay.
Cool, a 3 and a 3.
Okay, so that's 13 points.
All right.
You gonna cash it? You gonna go again, or you gonna stay?
Nope, I'm gonna stay there.
Okay, so that's good progress. That's like that's about it's just under halfway to making significant progress.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think it goes well. The word on social media goes from like she should be ashamed to well, if you're saying she should be ashamed, maybe you should consider what that says about yourself.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a perfect time for a personal scene where you get a message to slightly that effect from your sister.
Ooh, nice.
She sends you an email that's just a collection of articles, sort of like think pieces and hot takes.
Aw, and from Kim, that means a lot. Like,
yeah.
Like she is plugged into these sorts of things, and that she has been keeping track of them for me is very sweet. So,
yeah.
Aw.
So do you respond?
Yeah, let's see. I probably sent her a GIF or something. Like that's how we communicate.
That's a good way to. That's painfully real way to communicate with siblings.
Yes.
Now and in the future, GIFs are family communication.
Yeah, it's space GIFs on Mars. I'm sure they're like somehow better and different, but that's it.
The future of GIFs. I dare not speculate.
Oh boy.
Okay, so do you want to do another progress, or do you want to do another personal scene?
I think I do want to do another progress. I think that, you know, Orion goes back and is doing some more shows, but I think there's a larger, like we do like a festival almost with some of the other groups. So some of the groups that aren't just in Steel, but in Scarlet even, like, they're like gotten over the initial bad move on Lane's part and are, you know, supportive of this message. So it's
like
a bigger.
They might be Martians is there, but also Carbon Back is there.
Yeah. Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a big group thing. So we're everyone's rallying behind this.
And I think this being the sort of, I think I kind of vision this being the first show back. The first big return show, so I think there's a lot of eyes on you. Sort of reflecting that now you're pretty thoroughly established as like a big name leader in 39 Dark. Like as a movie.
Oh yeah. Cool. So this one I think like this show is it's big just because, you know, of coming back, and I think this may actually count as a civil disobedience. The scale to which we are imposing.
It could turn into Woodstock, or it could turn into Woodstock 1999.
Yes. Yeah. Here we go. Civil disobedience includes nonviolent actions, or large-scale demonstrations that disrupt colony functions. So this is big and loud and in the way.
Yep. They have closed down the parkway.
Yeah. Nice. All right. So where are my other dice? There you go. 4 dice.
Now, for civil disobedience, you can choose to ignore 1-1.
Okay.
Yes. But you still move 1 token from loyal to treasonous. But you can ignore. But you can keep your points with a single one.
All right. Well, let's see what happens. All right. So that is a 1-1. A 3, a 5, and a 6.
That's good, though. That's some good rolls.
Yeah, so I think I'm moving that point over to treasonous.
Okay. That's 11, 12, 13. That's 15 points. That's 28 points. Do you want to roll again?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
You gonna roll it again?
I am gonna roll it again. So, yeah, I have 3 in treason. I forget how I get rid of points in treason.
You can actually choose to not put that point in treason.
Oh, I see.
You can put that point into hope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hope is similar to anybody that either has played the first Mars Colony or listened to the other episode featuring Mars Colony. Hope in this game is similar to deception in that game, where you can choose to, instead of being treasonous, sort of fill up sort of that sense of which fills up your own sense of like hope that things are going to be okay, as well as people's hope that it's going to be okay. The thing is that you risk becoming disillusioned. Disillusioned, yeah. If you put something into hope.
Okay.
So you can put that into treason.
Yeah. Alright. Well, alright, so I'll put that first one I'll put into treason. Okay. And then we'll play with hope if I need to. So yeah, I'm gonna go one more time, because rolling dice is fun, and so is failure. Alright. Almost the same roll.
Okay.
1-1, a 2, a 5, and a 6. So, this time I want to put the 1 in hope.
Okay. Yeah. So what happens is you rely on the citizenry's desire for hope. You tell a white lie to convince people that it's all going to be okay. And that's when you risk, that's when the risk opens up for disillusionment later.
Cool.
So for that roll, so you still have 28 change points, but for that roll, so you don't get the 14 points for that most recent roll.
Oh, okay. They all go into hope.
Instead, you get no points from that roll, but the 15 points that you got from the previous roll, those turn into hope points.
Oh.
So you're now at 28 points with hope, and I believe that ends the scene.
Damn. Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think. Let me just. Yeah. That ends the scene. So I think what happens is. Describe to me, like, what goes wrong and how you cover for it.
I think maybe somehow during the festival, like, our band maybe gets called out a little for being slacktivists.
Okay.
Like, for not actually doing. So, like, maybe not, like, obviously, but sort of almost definitely through song from someone else, some other group, like, they're pointing out.
Yeah, I think that somebody writes a song that is something like that, like draws the idea that takes the name like Sleigh Girl and plays on the notion of like a sleigh to treat it like you're telling fairy tales, like you're talking about Santa Claus.
Yeah,
and
something like that. That it's like if you're really listening to it or paying attention, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happens. So then, how do you cover for that development? That sort of puts hope, sort of a desperate hope on the people. So
then there's definitely when it's our turn to go back up, there's in the theme of hope, possibly false hope, some empty promises about what we're going to be doing next, actions that we'll take, sort of thing. Let's see.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that's perfect. That now you're kind of like, no, we're going to do this, and the other thing, and now the crowd suddenly has sort of...
It's like, oh yeah, all right.
Like, okay, they said they're going to do this, now I can hope that they'll do this. So now there's a certain level of promise in the air.
Yes.
And I think that's...
Yes, I like that.
I think that's a good cue for an opposition scene.
All right.
I think what happens is... I really want to play this bad guy because he's out there, and I've been feeling it. I think President Fletcher.
Ooh, yes.
Ooh, because I'm excited. I'm excited.
Oh, good.
I think exactly what happens is that it's a failed effort, but it's failed effort because you catch wind of it, like evidence of it surfaces. That one of Fletcher's goons, the G. Gordon Liddy to his Richard Nixon, essentially, was like digging into Orion's Sleigh Girls and was like trying to dig up dirt. So I think that's the opposition scene is like a news report is like a blog post from Sidney Fain being like, is Arnold Fletcher trying to bring down Orion's Sleigh Girls?
Yes. Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yeah. And I think that you get sent that in an email from Kim, and she's like, hey, you need to read this. And there's no gifts
boy.
or anything like that. And so that's how you know it's serious.
All right. Like, oh, shit. Kim means business. Oh, boy. Cool. Yeah, I think that calls for a personal scene. I need another band meeting for, what does this mean and what could they possibly find out about any of us?
Oh, that's so good! Yes. Okay.
Oh, boy.
So what do you think comes to the surface in this band meeting? Either about Lane or other band members.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's probably a bunch of, like, trivial shit that, like, I could have lived without knowing about these band members. Like, I really don't care about that time you shoplifted when you were 13. Like, everybody did that, it's fine.
Somebody shows you a lot of fan art that they have that you're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's weird, but, like, I'm not gonna,
Right? Yeah. Oh, God. Just keep it to your space, Tumblr.
Yeah, right?
Oh. I love the idea that we live in a future where every politician has had that horrible, like, teenage Tumblr.
Yes.
I can't wait for that future.
It's just the world that's the world of the future of Mars Colony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. We all had that, like, embarrassing Naruto roleplay Tumblr or whatever it is in the future.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think a bunch of that comes out, and it's just sort of like it's stuff that I didn't need to know, but it's also a nice bonding experience.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that.
But I think there's gotta be somebody's hiding something a little more sinister, probably. So let's see.
I think it's probably Kim, or not Kim, it's probably Amy.
Yeah.
I think Amy has something.
So Amy is in Steel, but I think, let's see, what would be unfortunate and also good. So,
okay, here's what I think.
uh-oh.
I think it comes out as you're sharing this, like, all these, like, embarrassing Tumblr stories. I think Amy's lets out that she did something, like, actually, like, her online presence was, like, somehow actually legally questionable. So I think that, like, I think the best example, especially considering that she's also, like, a slacktivist, I think the best thing is that she was, like, a major,
like,
oh, I'm sorry, you have an idea.
Oh no, I was gonna say, like she was actually doing something, like, activist-y at some point that, was probably less legal than...
Yeah, she definitely set something on fire.
Oh yeah.
And it was probably a pretty trivial cause, too, because she was young. So she was like, look, I was 16, I was really upset. It's so embarrassing, I'm so sorry, it's bad, I have to admit it's bad. I was really upset that they canceled my favorite show, and I maybe sort of set the network director's car on fire. And they never found out, but,
Beautiful.
I'm sure I was caught on camera.
She bragged about it online a little bit.
Oh, she did! Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god, she did. She bragged about it online pretty hard.
Oh, she used to be big in, like, oh man, space supernatural fandom.
Yeah, and she definitely,
they knew it was her.
She definitely did some stuff like that. Like, she probably, she doxed somebody one time.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So I think that's our personal scene. I think our opposition scene is the, like, fallout of that, where, like, it was unsuccessful that this, like, corporate enforcer, or the political enforcer guy didn't actually find this stuff out, but other people on your side did. So I think we get another article from Sydney Fain being like, hey, are the Orion slave girls all they're cracked up to be? 'Cause look at this. And so, like, Amy's gotta have that moment of, like, look, I acknowledge, she's gotta make the apology to her now.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Oh, Amy.
So what do you think? Personal or progress?
Yeah, I think, 'cause I want the band we support her. It was a dumb mistake she made as a little preteen baby. You know, haven't you ever been so invested in something before that you've made foolish decisions, kind of?
Yeah.
So there's something, how could this... I think this absolutely ties into to personal expression. She did it wrong. But she knows better now. So we have something in support of her, whether that's
Yeah, I think that's good. I think it's like less a performance and more like a powwow, almost like a meet and greet.
Yeah. Yes.
Or like a discussion, like a town hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a good progress scene. So,
Yeah, okay.
So why don't you roll those dice? Because I think this is a 2.
Cool.
I think this is just...
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's
It's
a
a
2
discussion
also.
on personal expression and what happens when you do it wrong.
Alright, 2 and a 4.
Okay. That is 6.
6,
There's
and
1, 2, 30,
we'll do one
34.
more.
Yeah, you're at 34. If you get 6 points, you've made significant progress.
Alright, so I'm gonna go one more time. Because why not? Oh. Alright, 2 and a 5.
Okay.
So that's
Yep.
good.
That puts you at 26. 26 change points with 15 hope points, which gives you a total of 36, 41. You've made significant progress.
Yay, we did it.
So I think that the personal scene I'm going to set up is I think Kim, I think she calls you.
Ooh,
I think she
yikes.
calls you and she's like, hey, I just wanted to say I listened to that, I caught the live stream of that panel that you had. That was really interesting. Thank you for that. You said some really great stuff.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm glad that you caught it. And I mean, it was really thanks to Amy. I mean,
Yeah, I was pretty mad when I saw all the stuff that she had said and did, but yeah, I thought you made good points. So, anyway, how are you? Are you good? And I think that it just trails off into like the most awkward family chat.
right? Yeah. It's like, how's Dad? I was like, yeah, cool.
Okay, so do you want to do
Nice.
another personal scene or a progress scene?
Let's see.
I'm kind of feeling another progress scene personally. I think that we've made some real gains. So I think that riding that train.
Absolutely. I think we're doing well. That powwow went well. We could probably get back to doing some shows. I don't think we're really at a point where we need to be doing any violent uprisings.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I think that you're back on the road.
Yeah, maybe maybe back to the, whatchamacallums.
Okay, yeah, I think that works.
Level 2s.
So why don't you roll me those dice?
Cool, let's do a level 2. We're back. We screwed up a little bit again, but we're back again, so we're gonna have a big show.
Tour 2,000 or 3,000, whatever. That's the name of the tour.
Yeah.
We screwed up, we're back again. We screwed up, but we're back again.
Right?
Tour.
Yeah. Right? Like, not setting cars on fire tour. Alright, that's 2 1s. And a 4 and a 5.
Wait, you rolling 4 dice or 2 dice?
I'm rolling 4 dice.
Oh, is this civil disobedience?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're back to being slightly disobedient.
Okay, well,
civilly. So.
think this.
Oh, shoot. I have one in hope, so that means.
I think this might be endgame.
This is some disillusionment. Oh, no.
I think this is endgame.
Awesome.
Let's see what happens with disillusionment. Yeah, you roll a 1-1.
Cool.
So that's
Yeah.
of disobedience.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. When disillusionment occurs, as with any other failure, you must move 1 token from loyal to treasonous. You then lose all hope points. In addition, you become the whipping boy for the colony government. You move all of your hope tokens into treasonous. They should reference your past failures, empty promises, or notable acts of violence. The government makes Lane into the colony pariah for as much political advantage as possible. In other words, disillusionment can cripple 39 Dark and ruin Lane's career.
Oh, yep, it does. Because if I have to move 1 from loyal into treason and my hope into treason, that's 5.
And two from loyal into treason. So that's 5 anyway.
Oh, boy.
It's over. So we move into endgame.
Oh, we fucked up, guys.
The game ends after one of 2 events. First, the game ends and Lane Novak will be arrested or killed.
Oh boy, okay.
Well, don't sigh yet, because I haven't made up my mind yet. After 5 or more tokens enter the treasonous cycle. So,
yeah, we were at 5 or more.
Yeah, so I think if this is a concert, I think that Lane is assassinated.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right on stage. I think there's... Right as the band crescendos, right as they're big, the closing song, the biggest part of the set, they hit the crescendo, there is a crack of lightning, and the crowd goes silent, like panic ensues. the other members of Orion's Sleigh Girls are, like, taken in and questioned.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I think that's what that's where that goes.
That's so good.
So now, I describe the state of the colony at the end of Lane's turn as 39 Dark Leader. So we got 26 points of change, 15 points of disillusionment. I think...
That is not great.
I think that the rebel music scene probably, like, just about falls apart. I think that's the 15 points of hope turning into disillusionment. I think they still go, but, like, it's not as much demonstrations, and now it's more just about music. I think they kind of go mainstream a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of pointing to this concert as the day the music died. 2.
Oh.
The day the music died 2. 39 Dark.
Space Edition.
Yeah. But then the 26 change, that's almost significant progress. So I think that the threads of, no pun intended, the threads of 39 Dark and the Orion Sleigh Girls and this whole movement exist in the fact that a lot of young people just have this kind of clothing now. And they still get those kind of looks. They still are kind of, they still get those looks, and there's still that controversy, but, it's out there. Like, people on their space Etsy's are still making these outfits, and people are still buying them. So that fight continues. So,
oh man.
So what does 39 Dark look like now? Now you narrate a similar picture, not from Lane's point of view, but just in general. What does 39 Dark look like?
It's very dark from Lane's point of view. So I think with the music scene kind of going mainstream, that sort of leaves the majority of 39 Dark is that hacker movement, whether they are effective or just kind of in it for the lulz. They are what predominantly makes up 39 Dark at this point. And so that kind of, it takes them out of the public consciousness. They're doing things, still trying to work towards their agendas, but in ways that nobody really sees. Yeah. It's a lot of online things happening, sort of... Maybe
a higher tolerance for questionable stuff as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's the level of, like, counterculture stuff in social media, and then all of the deep web stuff that's happening,
I actually have one last scene then, because something happened that I'm really excited. Like, you describing that has got me really excited about this closing note.
Uh-oh.
I think the one real saving grace of all this is, in the weeks afterwards, a lot of terrible... Arnold Fletcher, like, the extent of the terrible things that Arnold Fletcher has done to his rivals is surfaced and is dropped off with Sidney Fane, who publishes it all. Arnold Fletcher is ousted in shame.
Oh, beautiful.
I think that Sidney Fane gets all of these documents from just from an email that is like, the last thing we see is Sidney Fane looking at this email, and it just says KN.
Ooh.
So I think that Kim has taken that role.
Yeah, no, I think Kim has definitely moved from midnight to gold. There's no more slacktivism about it.
I think that she is now the one, like, leading that charge.
Yes.
And that's game.
That's so good. That's so good.
And that's 39 Dark.
Oh, I love this messed up Mars colony so much.
I love it. Oh, man. I love the first Mars colony. I think it's fantastic. And this one, I really like. I really dig it. Oh, super, super good. Meg, thank you so much for coming on Party of One.
Thank you for playing with me. This was great.
This was really good. So where can people find you online real quick?
Oh, okay. I'm having a moment.
No, trust me, I understand. I am similarly having a moment.
Cool. You can find me. I'm at Meglish on Twitter. I live there. That's my house. And then you can find Modifier Podcast either at the network on oneshotpodcast.com or on our Tumblr at modifierpodcast.tumblr.com. And that'll do it.
Cool. Well, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me.
Thanks, past me. And thanks to Meghan for coming on the show. That was awesome. I absolutely loved it. Be sure to check out Modifier. It's a really fascinating discussion show. You will not regret it. Be sure to follow Meg on Twitter at Meglish and follow Modifier on Twitter at Modifier Podcast. Then, while you're on Twitter, follow this show at Party of One Pod. Then like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/Party of One Podcast. And if you've absolutely loved the show, consider telling a friend. iTunes reviews, social media shoutouts, and recommendations help grow the show and honestly mean the world to me. Party of One is produced by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. This episode edited by Jeff Stormer. Music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Meghan featuring the D&D Sluggers. Until next time, party people, thanks for listening, and remember, climb. Climb to the top of the world. And as you stand tall, you will see that when you fall, you'll fall from a height most people never reach.